Welcome to InfoHub. Happy Indigenous Heritage Day to our country's first people. In the news tonight, Prime Minister Nagamutu convenes emergency meeting with Chronicle officials. Minister Greenwich to lead a delegation to the 73rd UN General Assembly later this month. 10 Indigenous leaders honored. And in the latest CPL match, the Amazon Warriors defeated the Trinbago Knight Riders. And now for the details. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich will lead a team to the 73rd United Nations General Assembly later this month in New York.
Minister Carl Greenwich said apart from the usual issues and presentations by the respective heads of states, several bilateral meetings will be held on the sidelines of the 73rd United Nations General Assembly, UNGA 73.
On this occasion, the President will not be participating in this session, so myself and the Foreign Affairs team will be attending and doing all the necessary. There are expected to be several bilateral meetings with member states across the globe. The member states from Europe, as well as Latin America and Africa at various levels. So that is one. There will, of course, be meetings on the side, Commonwealth Secretariat, and some of the international institutions.
In preparation for the renewal of the Cotonou Accord, the negotiators representing the 79 member countries of the African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP states will be hosting a meeting.
Further their positions and look at the memorandum prepared by the ACP ambassadors, and there will also be meetings within the groups, that is Caribbean and the Pacific together, and there's likely to be one with the Europeans. The significance of the Cotonou is something I always emphasize because it is the main source of concessional funding to the Caribbean in particular. That means grants. And then amounts are significant. So it's important that these negotiations be conducted.
Following the hosting of the UNGA 73, the minister explained several other meetings are scheduled to address issues such as trade, blue oceans, and to facilitate further discussions pertaining to the ACP states. The minister and team will be attending from September 24, when the UNGA will be holding a high-level plenary meeting on global peace in honor of the centenary of the birth of Nelson Mandela, known as the Nelson Mandela Peace Summit. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Government is exploring avenues which will aid in the development of Guyana's tourism sector. Anara Khan recently traveled to 2 indigenous communities in Region 6 with Minister of Business with responsibility for tourism, Dominic Gaskin. Here's that report.
The Minister of Business with responsibility for tourism, Dominic Gaskin, while on a visit to Orial and Siparuta, told the village councils that having the necessary infrastructure is vital to the tourism industry.
There are a number of things that I think we all have to work on to make sure that Guyana is an attractive destination for tourists and that our individual communities that we want to promote have the, meet the required standards for primarily international visitors, because if you can meet the standards for international visitors, then it is more likely that we will get even also the domestic tourism market.
The business minister disclosed that government is exploring avenues which will aid development in the sector.
We realize, though, that the communities don't have the necessary infrastructure or accommodation in place to really attract visitors. So we're trying to develop a public-private community partnership where the government as the regulator and the facilitator will put a framework in place to ensure that there is some consistency in whatever arrangement is entered into between a private investor and the community.
Minister Gaskin noted that the lucrative tourism sector is yet to be fully developed.
It's never too late, so we have to start now. We know that we have a beautiful country. We know that it is attractive to visitors, so we have to now go that extra mile and provide them with the kinds of services that they want.
For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
smoking with passengers in the car. I got me little child in there. I mean, I can't smoke in your own car.
You know it's against the law for taxi drivers and minibus drivers to smoke, especially when you got a child under 16 in the car.
If you don't like it, go come out my car, man.
Just to let you know, the law states that even if you're in a car alone, you can't smoke because the fumes can get into the fabric and affect your passengers.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking related illnesses.
Thanks for staying with us. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu today summoned Chairperson of the Board of Directors Geeta Chandan Edmund and General Manager Cheryl Duncan to an emergency meeting to discuss issues relating to expenditures at the Guyana National Newspapers Limited, GNNL, and the dismissal of the company's finance controller. Following a brief provided to Prime Minister Nagamutu, the Chair and the GM agreed that the letter of termination issued to the finance controller will be immediately rescinded and that the board should determine the appropriate course of action that could follow. The Prime Minister further instructed that a full investigation be conducted by the board on both matters and that a report be presented to him as subject minister upon its completion. A date for the completion of the investigation is still to be determined. As we observe Indigenous Heritage Day, 10 Indigenous leaders were honored for their years of contribution towards community development at the celebration of the life and work of the first Indigenous parliamentarian, Stephen Campbell. Here's more in this report.
The Indigenous leaders were lauded for their contribution in health, education, and community development. They shared their pride at having been honored. While some have retired, they are still actively contributing to their communities.
I feel good. I really feel good. Really, really good. Because having some of my little children from Monkey Mountain, the students, also my grandson, Ravindra Dalchan, and our teacher, and they're here to see me, and I feel really good. And some of my relatives too.
Working in the health field, I always enjoy helping people. And up to now, even though I'm retired, I still give a helping hand in the areas of health. I do blood pressure testing freely. I also help young people to counsel them when they have issues, and also elderly people and their family.
In his address, Minister Sidney Alicog described Stephen Campbell as a visionary.
He was a visionary. He knew what he was speaking about.
Minister Gridelo noted the importance of today's celebration for the Indigenous peoples.
Today is a very, very important day to the Indigenous people of Guyana and Guyanese on the whole. Stephen Campbell was a powerful warrior. Was not a tall man, but he was a giant in representing his people.
The late Stephen Campbell, Guyana's first Amerindian parliamentarian, is widely regarded as a hero by the Indigenous communities, and his achievements are celebrated on September 10 every year as part of activities to commemorate Indigenous Heritage Month. Suniko Thorne, InfoHub.
Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, Albert Gordon, met with the Region 2 administration to listen to concerns and discuss the way forward as the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated ramps up efforts to address electricity issues in Region 2. Renetta Lafleur brings us that report.
Meeting with Regional Vice Chairman Juliet Kunja and Councillor at the Regional Democratic Council's office in Anna Regina, GPL's CEO explained that successfully delivering a stable power supply to its customers is paramount.
Success is in our vision statement, and it's an acronym. And the first, I won't go through all of them, but the first letter is for service quality. And the second one is for uptime of our systems. Others being, I'll just say, coverage, meaning access, compliance with applicable regulations, efficiency, safety, security, and sustainability.
Discussions focused on the type of units being used, the effectiveness of renting units as opposed to owning, and compensation for losses during recent power outages, among others. Gordon responded to the questions and assured that Anna Regina will see a continued improvement in the service.
We're looking at the future developments. We want to understand the plans. We want to be part of those plans. We want to be ahead of those plans in terms of installing new capacity And we also want to facilitate even developments that have not been thought up as yet, because that is in our mutual interest. Our mandate is to support the development of the country. That's my mission, by providing affordable and reliable energy services.
Meanwhile, Essequibo residents are being urged to uplift claim forms at GPL's office for any damage suffered during the recent power outages. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
A health management committee has been installed for the Linden Hospital complex and surrounding hospitals. Here is Delicia Haynes with the details.
The Linden Hospital Complex's Health Management Committee has been reconstituted under the auspices of Minister of Public Health, Valda Lawrence. This followed a request by the Minister to Cabinet.
There has been issues not only from this end, but also at the ministry's end. So it's more than one person in the boat or one group in the boat. I expect that you will reach outside of government to try to alleviate some of the issues which confronts the health sector at the Linden Hospital complex because of a few things. One, we don't have the physical space. Two, we can't do it alone.
Mortimer Mingo, the committee's chairperson, said the body will collaborate with the regional administration and those outside of the committee via consultations, making the decision-making process easier.
We will endeavor to do exactly what you would expect us to do, as that is to really assist in the robust delivery of health care services to the people of Linden and Region 10 through the Linden Hospital complex.
The minister and Mingo explained that the newly reconstituted committee is constituency-based and comprises of 15 members inclusive of, but not limited to, persons within the medical fraternity. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Shimron Hetmeyer and Sherfane Rutherford led an assault on the Trinbago Knight Riders on Sunday evening, securing the second position on the points table heading into the CPL playoffs slated for Tuesday, September 11. Paul McAdam has our last report for this evening.
The entire national stadium erupted as Sons of the Soil Hetmeyer and Rutherford tore through the Trinbago Knight Riders. The duo made light work of the 155-run target set by the Knight Riders in a mere 14.1 overs. Hetmeyer scored a masterful 59 runs off 30 balls, smashing 5 sixes and 3 fours, whilst Rutherford smashed 45 runs off just 13 balls, which included 6 sixes and 1 four. He was selected man of the match. Rutherford said heading into the playoffs, a big game was required to give him the confidence needed for what lay ahead.
Hopefully going into the next game, I'll give my team the same boost and we come out victorious and get into the finals and bring home the trophy.
Captain Chris Green commended Rutherford and Hetmeyer for their spectacular performances.
Outstanding team effort, and to Hetmeyer and Rutherford, that was a joy to watch. The way they backed themselves and backed their game and got us over the line there and got us into this 1v2 playoff on Tuesday night was outstanding to see, and I'm so pleased for them.
On September 11, the Warriors will go head-to-head once again with the Knight Riders, whilst the Jamaican Tallowers will face the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots the following day. Both games will be played at the National Stadium, Providence. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Remember to connect with us on our website at dpi.gov.gy and social media. We leave you with your CPL update and, of course, your bridge and weather reports. Goodbye.
Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from the Caribbean. Wave the hand, wave the hand, wave the hand from your one number one. From you ready for the competition. You not take intimidation.